It occurs to me that much like a parent or an adult to a child, or a human to an animal, people of higher intellect, beings of higher intellect, knowledge, uh, and they're further along on the path of kind of evolution, if you will, transformation, maturity, is that they know more. They know, they they just know more, right? And they understand more of what is. And so, for example, if the adult versus a child, the adult has to try and formulate stories, ways that the child can learn, right? The child can learn through play and personal experience, right? Challenges, games. That's how children learn. So adults know to help manifest these in order to help the child learn. And I think that pattern extends up and up and up and up and up forever. I think this pattern, everything is a pattern, right? And you can just trace it back to the root, to source. So this mechanism, I'm reminded when I imagine an enlightened one, like a monk, like some kind of priest, right? Some kind of shaman, whoever it is who you want to visualize right now as being some kind of enlightened being, some point of reference who is somehow wisdom beyond belief. And they just seem to just understand and know, and they seem to be more mature and kind of enlightened in general. Whoever you want to visualize, that's who they are right now. That's what I'm talking about. The way they treat others and the way they might have treated you when you have particular questions and you have particular challenges and stuff. They're not trying to be condescending or patronizing. They are trying their best to understand your experiences because they might have gone through similar things in their journey. And they have learned to understand it and see things. Perspective is key. Perspective will help you understand the nature of something so that you can choose to manifest your own variation of that reality to your choosing, because we still have that ability, right? It's a magical thing. But to a normal civilian and the average egocentric individual, compared to a higher level of awareness and knowledge, a higher wisdom, whether it comes from a person or a book, a belief, whatever you want to call it, if a monk to a normal person in society is trying to impart truth and wisdom, they will create stories and retell those stories because the stories contain a lot of significance. And if you follow along the characters of those stories, they will help you understand it too. And once you understand patterns within yourself, again, this is a big battle, right? The journey inwards is the most difficult because we're constantly fighting against ourselves, right? Because ego is always challenging Grace's tendrils of inspiration, right? So, where was I? It does feel like that pattern. It really does. Whenever I attune myself to a higher frequency in a higher state and I'm receiving some kind of messages, I start to feel as if now I'm responsible for imparting this information with in narratives and in ways that other people can maybe follow along, right? Because I think it's important as anything. It's, perhaps the most important, because it really feeds an itch in me to understand, to grow. And that might be part of ego too. Because ultimately, we're all just extensions of ego. In this generalized state, we are. And so Grace is trying to help ego grow. And the way that she can get through to him is through his little alter ego, through his game. She's trying to play ego at his own game to help him grow up. And stop playing. Because it's time to start living your own life. So I see the patterns everywhere. I'm seeing them more and more. And they all just feel like they are harmoniously coming together and making so much sense. Building a lattice of story that's coming from somewhere. Just imagination, creativity, they are still unknown sources to us. But ego says, oh, I'll take them. I'll take ownership. Ego says, it's all me. I am the genie. I am the genius. And Grace is like, no, I sent that little genie your way. I sent those inspirations. I sent those creative ideas. But, Grace is not one to take, take the reward. Because it's not valuable to Grace, really. She's doing it out of a pure heart and a pure intention to help ego grow up. So she doesn't want to take credit for the inspiration, but she is still silently aware that ego will absolutely jump on any opportunity to take credit. And if you can't take credit as the thing in context seems to have value to us, we seem to resonate with it, he'll take credit for it. Or if it seems harmful for us alter egos, then he'll manipulate it and discredit it. Same shit. Once you know that pattern, you'll see it everywhere. So then it puts into context, okay, what's from Grace and what's from ego? How is Grace trying to help us and how is ego trying to fuck with us? So this story in itself, really, what I'm getting at, feels like it's putting me, Mark, this alter ego, into a position where Mark now starts to feel like high and mighty by implication. I am putting myself into a rank of higher wisdom, but I'm a vessel. I still don't know where inspiration and creativity is coming from. It's still an unknown source within human society. No one can say where it comes from. So this is still just speculation. So I'm going to play the stance of, I honestly don't know where this is coming from, but as it's coming to my mind, just like any designer, any writer, any poet, any musician, any artist, inspiration comes through and I want to get it out as quickly as possible. Whether you follow the narrative of the genie and the genius or whatever story you've come across that seems to fit this, what I'm talking about, I'm going to put my hands up and say, I'm no messiah, but the story is freaking compelling. And as it comes through me, as I regurgitate it out using my own voice box and my own mind, trying to limit those so that they don't play so much of a filter and a hindrance, I'm hoping that this story is true and is a form of enlightenment and is helpful for myself. I feel it is. If not for anything, it's helpful for myself because I resonate with stories. I know we all do, but let's just say I'm doing it just for me. I'm not. I'm doing it for everyone, but it is for me too, because we're all one and the same, ultimately. We're all playing the same game. We're all pawns. So in this narrative of resource, which is very believable to me, it's resonating with me, obviously, I'm narrating it. But yeah, it seems like a wicked, amazing journey. It's tantalizing, and I still need to just get it out there. It's really just boiling at this moment. It's boiling away. My ideas are frothing. And at some point, it's just going to boil over. So maybe this is a catalyst that I need. Just get it to the point where it's absolutely spilling over, and I am just waiting to burst. And so then I'll put myself out there. I'll launch the content in the right manner, and it will just cascade. Hopefully. But it's still something I have to really fight against. Fight with, rather. I'm fighting with. Now, why am I fighting with it? Shouldn't I just not fight with it and let it go? I need to further recognize it and further help myself to understand it, to appreciate it, and to release it.